Welcome to Gary Grigsby's War in the West. Today I wanted to really show you how in-depth and fascinating this particular war game is. As you guys know, Gary Grigsby has a whole bunch of different games. But this one, of course, focuses on the Western theater of World War II. And I'm going to go ahead and pick a scenario. I want to do the D-Day start campaign. So essentially, we are starting from the invasion of Europe, and we have to control every single actual Allied, theater of war. That includes the Italian theater of war. Now, I want to be clear. If you want to play as the Germans, you can. You could play as either side here. It's really completely up to you. But I want to jump in, of course, as the Allies here. So we're going to load the selected scenario, and, of course, wish us the best of luck. There's that D-Day Start 1. Let's go ahead and also just share this on our Discord. And if you like these kind of games, these sort of, I guess it would be classified as an operational level strategy or maybe grand strategy, then make sure to let me know in the comments so that we can kind of stream this more in the future. Just drop this here. Now, there is an air element to the game, so sort of not just commanding where your bombers are going to go and things like that, but also commanding when you're going to be bringing in supplies, where you're going to be bringing them in, etc. So it does get quite in-depth, that is for sure. All right, let's get started here. How you doing, Robert Roberts? So right here, I could go ahead and just have the AI manage air. What I like to do, though, is actually go ahead and focus on it. We want to give that ground support as a high priority. And basically, we can determine the priority of different attack types here. So obviously, airfields are going to be very, very high priority here. How you doing, Zaid? And let's just keep it like that. Let's keep it fairly straightforward. AI will manage the air units and bases. And we are going to simply end there. Now, we're not currently moving any troops. We're simply doing the air phase. You can control this and customize it as much as you want. I try to kind of keep my hands off it. I kind of, select what sort of attack I want the fleets to go for, and they go for it. And the next turn will, of course, be our movement phase. And I bet you're already looking at Normandy and thinking, how could we possibly land on those beaches? I'll show you how. Let's proceed, though. Oh, first, let me... No, actually, we already executed them. Shame on me. And I will say this, for any of you that have played Gary Grigsby games in the past, the air phase in this one is akin to War in the Pacific. It's very in-depth, and sometimes it can take like 2 or 3 minutes for the actual air phase to resolve. Keep in mind, we are doing the entire European theater here, so it's a lot of missions. And you can see our bombers are just bombing in depth in behind the enemy lines, probably trying to destroy those rail lines, etc. Absolutely beautiful. Hey, Eric, how you doing? Get some attacks going. So, of course, I'm going to have to do the Normandy landings. A little more complicated than you would expect. But then again, maybe not. Hey, how you doing, Anthony? Yeah, same here, man. It's actually been a while since I played. I'm much more a War in the East player, but, when you get that itch to play some War in the West, or that itch to play a Western Front game, you gotta go for it. And I kind of just wanted to see, like, how much territory I can liberate, given full control of the Western theater here. Right? Plenty of forts there in central Italy, but we're actually right on the outskirts of Rome. So we could probably take Rome here. Not necessarily this turn, but we can make a push for it. Really, really make the Italians and their German allies suffer on that front. Told you guys, the air phase is amazing. And if you look over there at combat losses, about 155 of those losses are operational. And basically what that means is, let's face it, I mean, some of these planes are not in the best condition. Some of them, have been pulled out from storage, and sometimes they don't even get off the ground, or they do, and the engine suddenly dies, and that plane simply doesn't return. So far more operational losses than anything else. Oh, Campaign Series Vietnam is tremendous. Really, really good stuff. All right, folks. So now we get on the front and actually start doing some damage here. Let's take a look at the Italian front. And like I said, we've got Rome right there. So, of course, we want to try to break through. I'm actually going to take this group, 5th Infantry Division, 1st, 34th, a bunch of these guys. And we're going to go straight for these these German units. I'm almost certain they are Germans. Fallschirmjägers and 65th Infantry. Now, they actually held there, and just to pause that fight, that was quite damaging on our side. Of course, getting through Italy is a tough one because it's very mountainous. As you can see, we've got Monte Cassino over here. We've already taken it. But we lost nearly 2,000 men in that attack to the enemy's 467. So that just goes to show you, these attacks can be quite deadly. Now, I want to try and break through the weak spots here. We can also create our own weak spots. So I'm actually going to send some infantry over here to Frosinone. Frosinone. I'm sure I'm butchering that. You can see also those mechanized units, or the motorized corps, I should say, cannot go over the mountains, which absolutely makes sense. We might just go ahead and follow up with a second attack here. Let's go for it. And this time, motorcycle brigades are being brought in to assist on the defense, but there we go. A major retreat, pretty standard casualties on both sides, but we're going to try to take that area as quickly as possible. Pomezia, it's a suburb of Rome here in the south. And we just want to take those positions. Anywhere where we can actually expand our lines, we're going to go for it. It is. Yes, absolutely. And that's like, if you're into the air game, you're gonna love this. I tend to kind of let the AI do its thing, but even then you can decide kind of what the next move is and what the priorities should be. So I really love that. Once again, a nice little battle over here at Clampino, but still continues, of course. They're not gonna give up without a fight, of course, but I'm seeing some potential weak spots over here at the mountains. The question is, can we get any units in the mountain ranges? Yeah, this area is way too mountainous, so what I'm going to do is try and break through that parachute division. They do look quite beefy, but we've got more men than they do. You know what, at a minimum, let's strike that division right there. $1,350 lost on our side. It's a rough fight, but we knew that getting through Italy was going to be a tough one. There we go. We actually forced the Fallschirmjägers to retreat. Of course, we took more casualties than they did, but we can stand to lose a lot more troops than they can. I'm just going to try and fill in those gaps. Let's go for it. Williams Brothers, glad to see the War in the West being played. Doesn't get enough love. I agree. I actually, it's kind of funny how I decided to play it. I was looking at my Matrix games library. I haven't looked at that in a while. And I was like, oh, I have a copy of War in the West. I didn't even remember. So I was like, I've got to play this. I also have a copy of Operation Torch, which is one of the many DLC you can get for this game. Let's get this guy. I want to get him over there in the mountains. Ataka. We actually hurt them quite a bit there, 515 lost to our 32, but they stayed put. They managed to hold their position. Of course, once we break through to Italy, I believe the Italian government completely collapses. Break through to Rome, I should say. Bello, 1,467. And wait a minute, I wanted to take a look there. There was something really weird there. There was a Russian infantry battalion. Now I want to attack it just so you guys can see that. I should have paused. So I guess those would be white Russians, right? Like the sort of anti-Soviet Russians. That's interesting. We have the 442 guys, Nisei Brigade. Now, this is the 442 U.S. Infantry Regiment, Go for Broke. If you guys have not seen the Go for Broke movie, you absolutely should. This is made up almost entirely of Japanese Americans, and they performed extraordinarily in Italy. So we're actually going to use them to attack these Germans, but they are really hurt here, just from the previous day's fighting, or this day's fighting, I should say. They're kind of spent fatigue-wise. Off there. You can see, of course, the front is tremendous here. We don't just have to focus on this area, we've got to focus on the area north of us as well. Let me just see if I can get one more attack through here, because I'm sure we could break that unit, but not with a lack of troops like that. We really need the right amount of forces. Trying to see if I can fall back with any of these guys. That works, and we can bring him in here and follow up the attack here with the Canadian Armored Division. They should be able to steamroll this infantry. They held, but we didn't lose a single piece of armor, so I consider that a pretty good outcome. Let's take over here, we could also get a decent hit. And again, didn't manage to break through, although damaged the unit. This is almost entirely going to be Stug brigades. So anti-tank brigades, we might not want to be attacking with those armored units. All right, let's go over to the invasion area. Well, first of all, che bello. Corsica is totally ours. I could, of course, just click up and go there, but I want you guys to actually see the beauty of this map. And the level of detail also, it's amazing. So we have to do proper invasions here. Here we go. We're going to invade with the amphibious HQ. We're essentially going to go ahead and call the invasion now. Second one over here, we are going to invade. So you can see Operation Overlord is absolutely beginning here. They're taking a little bit of attrition damage in certain instances. But the goal here is really to touch down on the beaches, of course, with every single invasion force we've got. I always wonder why that one doesn't seem to work out. Let's see. I think it may just not be a main invasion area. So before we can actually start doing the appropriate naval transports, we have to let the invasion begin. So essentially we have to let them land on the beaches, kind of see what happens, and then we will react as needed. Have you heard about the Wargames Blitzkrieg Fire and Pacific Fire? It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar, but I can't say for sure. Let's see. All right, folks. I want to make sure we're not forgetting any moves, but I'm pretty sure that's about all we do this turn. Oh, nice. That's right. Let's get those HQs in range. Let's take a look at the air transport mode. So I actually haven't messed around with this too much, but this determines kind of where our paratroopers go, I believe. Let's see, though. Let's go to locations where there are airfields, for instance. Yeah, I don't think we have any air transport going for us right now. Let's look specifically for those paratroop units. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, here we go. Drop. Can actually pick units for this air mission. Interesting. All right. Launch. So I don't think I've ever actually attempted one of these air missions. They're assigned to drop. That is awesome. We're going to do the same with these guys, and it's great how we can actually bring different groups, C-47 Sky Trains, to transport the units. Just awesome. Let's bring 3 of them. I swear I almost said tree. I really almost said tree. Over here, we should be able to bring in these guys as well. Let's drop them. So maybe they need to be over, like, a certain airfield to be able to drop them properly. Could be. Again, I'm not too concerned because I think the naval invasion is going to go just fine, pretty much without a hitch. Obviously, Operation Overlord has been planned for months and, well, years, really. So they're fairly certain about what they're going to do once they get to this point, of course. Great work there. Look at that. We could actually almost move in with the 36th U.S. Infantry Division. We have opened up Rome. So do I just jump in there or wait till next turn? I think I wait till next turn, but I want to see more about this infantry division. They did a great job. Anybody know about these guys? I do not. Pretty awesome job, though. Greyhound armored cars, rifle squads, combat engineers, all sorts of fun toys to play with. All right, let's end it there. Let's see how the invasion goes. Of course, the goal here in this campaign is total liberation of Europe, as you can imagine. Oh, that's a great question, William. So I actually don't do much. I pretty much, like, I'll occasionally go through and kind of mess around with some of the locations if I want a focus on bridges or if I want to focus on ground support. But for the most part, I kind of let the AI do its own thing. All right, there's our air landing, or excuse me, there's our parachute division dropping in. Absolutely beautiful. They made it, guys. Forced the German air landing division to retreat. Look at that. We're bringing in field artillery, amphibious HQs, a bunch. Unfortunately, look at that. Fatal scatter hex just from landing. The landings did not go so well for some of these infantry units, but most of us are making it onto the beaches. Look at that. For instance, we can look at this attack against Mark's unit. 5th U.S. Corps under Garrow, and we are just smashing through. We destroyed half of those tanks, so fantastic. Captain Frog, how you doing? It's pretty detailed. It's pretty detailed. I think of all, like, if I had to say the most detailed of the Gary Grigsby games, it would be a hard fight between this and War in the Pacific. It really would. I think War in the Pacific is just a little more detailed because you really, with War in the Pacific, you really need to control the air war. You really need to control it. Here, not as much, but it certainly helps if you do. And just look at those landings, guys. We're going to turn on enemy hex mode so we can actually see the land taken here in a second. But it's already looking pretty nice. Just a bunch of our men on those beaches ready to get fighting. We've also split the Germans in two here, so I'm hoping that allows us to destroy those guys on the northern beaches quite quickly. Oh, nice. Thanks, Anthony. 36 is from Texas. Decimated, really. Wow. I mean, I think so far they're my favorite unit in our campaign. Of course, this campaign takes a very long time to complete, so if you guys enjoy it and you want to see me continue it as like a live stream exclusive thing, then make sure to comment and like the video. We'll take a look at the casualties a little bit later. And again, over here, so once again, I'm simply going to do AI Manage Air. But this is basically what you can focus on if you'd like. So you can go through, and of course, there's like a low focus or no focus on bombing certain areas, medium focus, and then high priority. So it's sort of low priority, medium priority, high priority, etc. I think here for city target types, I want to try and hit enemy rail yards, so I'm actually going to put that on high priority. So you can not only let the AI manage, but you can also kind of do some on your own. And what I'll do now is simply execute those air directives. We're doing major bombing runs, as you can see. You can actually hear those major bombing runs at the moment. Losing quite a few planes to flak, of course. We are getting behind those enemy lines and just trying to damage the rail line so they can't send reinforcements as quickly over here to Normandy. They are just bombing anything they can, essentially, which I love. You can see, just imagine how much planning goes into, World War II from one general's perspective. Like, look at the amount of sorties that are taking place every single day here, across the European theater. It's so much planning, so much has to go into it. It's no wonder that mistakes are made, on both the junior officer level and, of course, the major general level. You just can't possibly get this all right. Nice. Actually saw some of those enemy numbers drop there for the tanks. They've sent a tremendous amount of SS divisions up to stop us. And in this late war period, the SS actually is strong. Early war, garbage. Late war, they're quite strong. So it definitely worries me. And not to mention, these are SS Panzer divisions. So they're going to have Tigers, they're going to have Stugs, Panthers, all that fun stuff. And I'm thinking we have to, at a minimum, establish ourselves here in Normandy and just kind of take this northern area. So I might even go north of it with those units and just try and wipe out those coastal units and make landing even easier for the rest of our army. Oh, nice. Let me also, while I'm here, guys, we're really trying to get the Discord up and running again. I feel like probably a lot of people on the channel don't have our Discord link. Let me just drop that here in our chat. Just a tremendous amount of ground attacks here. I love it. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is for them to soften up this area for us. The question is now, can we make this landing work? Can we exploit this landing to our benefit? We'll have to wait and see. Definitely want to hit these weaker units in the middle here, but I also want to hit these units over here that are quite weak and right on the fringes of the coastline. So let's try to do this first. We'll take these two. We're going to hit that German unit. What a hell of a surprise, too, as this German unit, huh? There he go. He's going to rout the 716th Infantry Division. It's mostly artillery battalions. And we're just spreading out that attack line as much as we can. Really risky attack to get on the beaches, but we've got to try anything and everything. Again, don't really want to mess with those SS units. What we can do, however, now we're going to go to the actual naval transport mode. And now that we have units here, we should be able to transport without issue. But first, I'm going to see if some of those... yeah, some of those invasions are ready to go anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and launch another amphibious assault. We might not actually have to manually move many of these guys. Jump over to naval transport. This would be port-to-port movements. See, that seems to work. He's already headed over there. But the rest of these guys are going to have to wait till next turn, likely to do the full naval transport. I believe he's actually part of that invasion in the south, near Ore Point. But I know there's a way to also move these guys from these locations onto the battlefield, like there. So let's do that. Okay, we might need to actually wait until the division is ready. It might also be a beach thing, like we might need to land on the actual beach itself. Shipping is still contested here, so it's going to take a little while. I think what we need to do is actually open this up a bit more before we can get additional troops in. Can we get in those paratroopers? No, it's way too hard of a target right now. Way too hard of a target. That's okay. We've waited before. We can wait again. I think just to be absolutely certain, I'm going to start getting these guys on the ports, Dover, etc., just to get them ready for invasion. Get some on Ramsgate as well. And now to our Italian front. Maybe we could carry out a couple more attacks here, though. I really don't want to push it. Because getting us off this beach, believe it or not, is quite a challenge. Alright. Back to Italy. So we had actually freed that tile last time, and we were very close to taking Roma. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that mechanized division with just a massive amount of troops here. I'm actually amazed they held. Almost 3,000 men lost on our side. We did destroy a bunch of their men too, but I wouldn't say the body count differential, excuse me, was fair on that one. So let's try and go again for another attack. This time we're going to break through. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Right now we are directly south of Rome. Rome is right there. Bella Roma. Let's first attack here as well. I think we can make it through. We've got a bunch of tanks trying to bust through this area. But still very strong defenses here, of course. Going to keep on pushing the advantage. Like right here, we should absolutely be able to break through. And this is like mountain warfare, essentially. There we go. A bunch of them retreating there. Let's try and encircle them. If we can get any more units to go to that mountain, that would be absolutely fantastic. Doesn't look like we're going to get that chance, but let's hit this paratrooper regiment. And we absolutely routed that group of Fallschirmjägers. Now, if we could get to that rail line, guys, we would be in a really nice place, of course. This is always a really risky attack, because I don't actually expect us to break through east of Gran Sasso. I just don't think we can. It's a very strong position. It seems that the Germans actually have stronger units over here on the eastern side of the peninsula. Ow. Just jammed my toe so badly. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys, I appreciate if you guys just say that right away, because if you guys have not been able to hear me this entire time, I'm going to be beyond annoyed. Let me see. How do we turn the music off? Aha! It's got to be here. All right. See, I don't even notice those things. Looks like even here we've got some engineers fixing things up, but I'm not sure if we should go for an attack here. I think it's a bit reckless. Even here is kind of a reckless attack. Yeah, I think on the Italian front, we have to take it really slow. This is already an extremely dangerous front. I could try to attack here. but it seems kind of pointless. Thank you, Robert. I do appreciate that. I'm just going to make sure all of the HQs are in range. I think everything's fine, but I don't see any specific areas that we should attack this turn. It's very risky. Jump up here. The other thing is, now that we're on the actual beaches, we will be getting reinforcements. We will also be getting supplies, all that fun stuff. So maybe we do need to take a risk at locations like this, kind of try to fight our way off the beaches. That didn't really hurt either of us. But yeah, we did not brush past them at all. May have spread our guys out a little too much here. Here we go. Oh, nice. Very cool. Make sure that your professor doesn't know you're... that in your off time you're watching a Wargamer. Maybe if you're taking a history class, they're okay with it. They're like, oh, it's not too bad. There are worse things. So there, the enemy retreated. Just to pause there. That's from our next landing, our next amphibious landing, 2,775. But this is a proper D-Day beach landing. It's actually our British units landing, and look at that, 4,424 killed or wounded. So that is definitely an appropriate beach landing, for sure. No one's getting out of there without a scratch. Again, we managed to hold. Very even losses on both sides. But I'm hoping it's going to take quite a bit longer than these Germans are expecting to be able to push our men off the beach here. Really takes a while to get those units up from Germany. And also, a lot of those units are occupied in Italy. So you can imagine how much more complicated it is for the Germans. And let me reiterate, if you want to play as the Germans, that's absolutely something you can do in this game. In fact, you could even do a play-by-email with a friend, and, you know, one plays as allies, the other plays as Axis. So a lot of choice. All right, we are going to let them manage this completely. We're going to go and execute our existing air directives. By the way, if you want to focus on something a little less complex, like if you don't want to focus on the entire grand campaign, there are existing, or other existing campaigns that are much easier, much more straightforward, like simply the invasion of France. There's also DLC like Operation Husky, where you can focus on exclusively North African operations. So again, we're just doing this grand campaign to really show off this game's potential. It's not something I necessarily recommend. It's going to take a ridiculously long time, but if you guys want it as a stream exclusive and you're willing to watch, I will absolutely go to the very end. Not today, but we can at least get started. The other thing I like about these sort of operational level strategy games is it's a really good time for, you know, you guys, the viewers, to provide like tactical advice, strategic advice, what you would do in a similar situation. I really like to see that in the comments. That's right, drop those bombs, boys, and just look at the losses we're taking, guys. But these are pretty standard for, of course, the invasion. It looks like 155 air combat losses, 113 flak, 56 operational, aka some of our planes just don't work. Doesn't make sense. That's right. Tell your professor that. Also, the unsung heroes here are recon, just going behind enemy lines and telling us where these Germans are coming from, or where they're likely to come from, even. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that, Robert. I just didn't want to mess with the invasion mechanics too much, but I'm pretty sure you can try and land wherever you want. But it's definitely easier to land here or even to the west in Brittany, Brest, all that stuff. Look at that, 536 combat losses. The Germans have lost quite a few. Again, we can afford to lose quite a few more. But even they had 34 operational losses and 89 air combat losses. It looks like we're also getting our flak guns set up because we are managing to knock a few of them out of the sky over here in Normandy. Let's hope that continues. All right. So yeah, I think I want to focus on the Normandy front first. I also just want to see if I've not gone crazy with the movement there, because I'm almost certain that there is a way to move in here. But I may not be doing it the right way. We may also need to clear a path. Yeah, I think we need to clear a path. Insufficient port capacity, that's what I thought. So we absolutely need to open this area up with our existing units. Let's see. Force the Fallschirmjägers to retreat. Let's keep pushing and keep taking territory. And I want to start hitting these units over here on the, right on the beaches there. These Fallschirmjäger divisions are fairly weak. Of course, we don't have many troops to make ourselves known here. So it's a tough fight. Now let me see if we can move them in there. Just insufficient port capacity. In some ways, it's just better to kind of let the AI do all the port movements. Okay, so I think the invasion just essentially continues from what I understand. I want to be certain, though, but I'm pretty sure it continues to move on. Since we have the invasion corridors right here. So it might just be waiting simply for more space to be freed up to even get to that particular area. Let's take a look here. Just making sure we're not forgetting any potential invasions. All right. Get back to the front line. Yeah, we'll go for it here. We're going to get that amphibious landing HQ a little deeper inland. Same with this one. Gotta try one more attempt. All right, let's just take a look at the Italian front once again. Got a breakthrough there. It's definitely a more tedious front in the north. I mean, the Italian front is tough enough, but that front in the north is just tedious. Attacking Rome. Look at that. Force the mountain divisions to retreat. We might be able to roll into Rome today. Look at that. Beautiful. Not going to attack that unit, but I will attack this one right here, nearby. They actually managed to hold. They certainly want to hold on to Roma here. Of course, this breaking open means they have to divert a bunch of units from the Western, or the French theater, I should say, to assist over here. But they've got some pretty strong positions here. There we go. Bunch of infantry divisions running in terror. That's what I like to see. And slowly but surely, we are picking away at this front. Let's do the same here. Ma che bello. I'm going to use the mechanized divisions just to fill in the gaps. No, he's too strong. Way too strong in that area. These guys also look strong, but they're not. Of course, if we were able to open up the road to Pescara, that would allow us to cut the enemy off. We would essentially go from Pescara up north to Foligno, and then north or southwest over here, and we would capture everything. So I think that's why it's especially challenging to break through that eastern part there. They know that if they lose that, you know, we overrun them. Just make sure all of these HQs are as close as they need to be. This one is a bit out of range, which is not good. Molto buono. I think we're going to hold it there. No, unfortunately, those paratroopers are not going to drop. All right, let's end that turn. Hey, Richardson. Absolutely. Complicated, but a really, really enjoyable game. And absolutely pays off. This is one of those games that if you just stick to it, it will pay off. It's been a while for me, so the naval invasions I'm kind of doing we did start the initial naval invasion. But this is definitely one of those games, if you just dedicate enough time to it, you're going to love it. I'm sure the same is true for Command Modern Air Naval Operations, but I'm never going to sit down to learn that. That is way too time-consuming. Okay, we got some counterattacks in Italy, actually. Now, that is surprising. We held, but they're not going to give up that easily. I thought for sure in Italy, Kesselring would just remain on the defensive, but they're trying to actually push our forces back. At least we're getting those replacements, quite a lot of replacements coming in. So this area is getting stronger and stronger. Eventually, we're going to have to break through, of course. But I think completely capturing Rome in the south is going to force them to divert a whole bunch of units. So I might just go ahead and make that my main focus, is really the southern front. And once again, we are going to leave this one for AI to manage. In fact, we could just execute my predetermined recommendations, but I want to let AI completely execute this on its own. And again, just the amount of sorties in one day amazes me. Just amazes me. Just the amount of orders that have to be delegated in a situation like this is crazy. Still a tremendous amount of combat losses there, though this time mostly due to flak, just actually providing a lot of ground support for our units. And also, as you can see, bombing behind the lines. It looks like this time we're actually hitting industrial centers. So before, our guys were trying to hit the rail and essentially cut off any way for the units to be transported north to Normandy. But now it looks like, from what I can see, our bombers are going exclusively for Paris, for neighboring towns, and just bombarding it to ashes, essentially. Of course, we're not hitting the civilian areas, or trying not to, but going directly for the factories and things of that nature. A few of these are coming in a little bit closer, too. Those are mostly bombing runs. Special thanks for everybody stopping by this stream. I think this is one of the most viewed streams we've done in a while. It really helps me to do these when people stop in, to narrow down kind of what people want to see on the channel. I know we've been doing a lot of Fire and Maneuver. I really do want to keep doing that game. It's gotten a lot of focus, but if you guys enjoy War in the West, especially for a game this detailed and with this much content, as long as you just in the comments say, hey, I'd love to see this as a campaign or a stream exclusive, we'll just make this, turn this into a campaign that we essentially tackle on live streams. And if you miss the live stream, you could just pick up, afterwards. No big deal. All right, let's break through. So I think our best bet is going to be here. Wait a minute. Let's try again with the movement. I've got to try. Trying different ports to see if maybe another one will have sufficient port capacity. Like we could try this one over here. Unfortunately not. Alright. I want to play it the hard way, eh? It's going to be a tough attack. This is, of course, risky because we're opening up a tile, but I think we can push these guys away. going to start to spread out our forces even more here. So we'll take that unit and... Actually, no, those are amphibious HQs. Let's not mess with them too much. But with these commando brigades, I'd love to actually move inland. Air transfer, eh? Can actually send RAF squadrons over here. I'm looking for the transport planes, because that would mean us actually sending transport planes. But that seems a little too complex. Right, there we go. Dakotas. No way, I'm not messing with that. No way! That is too much! My goodness. See, this should have sufficient port capacity. Okay, I got it. I think I know what we have to do. So essentially we have to transport out here first. We can't just go directly to the location. As you can see, just moving, though, it does potentially damage the ship, disable a certain amount of men, etc. We're trying to actually just get these guys on the beach. That's all. You can see just moving to the beach is dangerous, but we did figure it out. Thank goodness. I knew there was a way to do it. I knew I wasn't completely crazy. A little bit, yes, I agree with you. Move this guy out. So we're getting the HQ out, and they are going to get hit. We've also taken a little bit longer to get these men out, of course. So they're definitely going to take some damage. There's no way around that. But getting this HQ on the beach, I think it's going to be invaluable. Just close to the men so they can constantly be resupplied, of course. These guys actually got through without getting attacked at all. So sometimes, no submarines, no problems, of course. We actually just got hit as we were leaving the ship, so those subs attacked us right off the coast. What I'm not so sure about is attacking enemy units from an amphibious landing position. So again, we have to make sure that the beach is clear for them to get on. I'm going to try. Actually, I think, is that amphibious? Yeah, it is. So I'm going to try to do an amphibious transport approach. No, he can't do it. What about this fellow? And we've got to get him out here anyway to resupply his existing units. No, this could simply be an area he can't move out of, although should be able to, right? Should we just do regular naval movement? That's what we'll do. I really like those amphibious transports, though. I was hoping we could use them to essentially attack more of the enemy locations here. We've lost a couple thousand men just crossing the English Channel, so dangerous but necessary. Just unloading all of those units. Look at that. Yep, he looks a lot more dangerous off the ship. Okay, so that's the port right there. Understood. There we go. Slowly but surely, we're getting it, folks. It's definitely time-consuming, though. Yeah, this one's going to have to wait for the port. It's okay, though. Obviously, opening up some more port areas would be beneficial to us. Still wondering if we should attack this turn, but I don't think so. I think we're going to keep our cool. Now that we're moving in reinforcing units, let's just keep our cool, stay away, and let them attack us, and just continue landing calmly, essentially. Back to Italy. Right, well, first things first, that motorized unit is already looking ridiculously weak. Sure enough, a bunch of enemy brigades are running. Now, again, with every attack in Italy, though, we absolutely always come, in last in terms of casualties. And that's because, of course, the Germans are defending this land, and there's plenty of mountains, plenty of urban areas over here in the Roma region. And, yeah, it's tough to break through, essentially. We're going to make it happen. See, again, here, their defenses are very strong. We're just going to call that the Gran Sasso region. I don't want to mess with it. Really risky. I mean, I think we have no choice. We've got to throw some men against them. Otherwise, they'll just keep making this a stronger and stronger area. But there are some locations here in Italy that, you know, it's so hard to move. And if you look at the actual southern campaign of World War II, I think, is it called Operation Husky, or is Operation Husky just the initial part? In any case, you'll see that, like, even just moving a mile was brutal, man, because we're trying to make it through all of these mountain passes. We're trying to make it through major cities. And the Germans are stopping us at every opportunity. So we have to be very careful with what attacks we go forward with. Here, I kind of want to try another attack against those paratroopers, but I'm going to hold on for a bit. Let's play it cool. Try quickly if I switch to amphibious from here. Okay, no. You can't trick the system. You can't go from naval movement to amphibious landing, unfortunately. And again, I just want to make sure the HQs are here to provide that HQ support, of course. To naval movement. Please don't attack the submarines. Did get hit. Just leaving port. Of course, they probably know that we're leaving this area. Or they expect us to leave this area to support the invasion. I could only imagine that that English Channel was still very dangerous after D-Day. But at least this way we are bringing much-needed replacements, reinforcements, etc. to the area. So we've run out of port capacity. We actually used so many of those transport ships just to get the other units in the area. There doesn't seem to be any port capacity left over there. Nonetheless, we've got other units, but nope, still no port capacity. That's pretty cool. I understand now. The port capacity thing kind of makes sense to me now. So these guys can still move. We want to absolutely get them over here. And of course, always keeping that HQ close by. And thankfully, this HQ has already landed. So only the second one was hit. That's definitely signs of a submarine fleet here. Now also keep in mind that that port is not immediately operational. We cannot land units initially. It actually took time to make that port operational. So first you have to make the initial landing, then you've got to, of course, sort of keep these guys supplied. So not easy. Huh. Does not have naval movement. Okay, nope, insufficient port capacity. We're just going to have to wait till next turn. If there's no ships, what can you do, you know? You just kind of have to go with the flow. All right. Here we go, folks. And again, if you want this to continue as a campaign, the only thing that I ask you guys is to like the video and comment. And I don't mean like comment in the chat, although I love your chat comments. But like actually comment down below, please make a campaign. You can see the Luftwaffe has about half the capacity we do for air sorties. So I'm thinking that's going to actually come in quite handy for us in a bit here. Ooh, any counterattacks? So they actually didn't do any counterattacks there on the beaches, essentially letting us continue our invasion. But it sort of makes sense. I think there's a lot of pressure on the southern front, and we are in such a position with, of course, our HQs close by now that I don't think their attacks would break through. I think all they could really do is lose a whole bunch of men trying to push us off the beaches, and it wouldn't necessarily be a good thing for them. So once again, over here for automatic air directives, I'm going to change up just a little bit. We'll keep air superiority, but I want to focus my attacks on railways again. So high focus on railways. We already have a high focus on interdiction, so that's fine. And let's also put a high focus on rail yards. Maybe lowering our focus on airfields a little bit. Because let's face it, the Luftwaffe doesn't have much to begin with. Not at this fight. Not at this point of the fight, at least. And time for an air phase. Looks like there was even some supply drops there. Is that possible over those units in the ocean? I guess anything's possible. Yeah, I completely agree, Jorge. I would love to see some modern wars with this style. The closest thing I could think of is Flashpoint campaigns. Flashpoint campaigns has a very similar style and does focus on like modern war, but I think it's a different kind of strategy game. It's a WeGo, where it's like you and the enemy are moving at the exact same time, basically. I kind of like that, actually. I think it's pretty cool, and especially for modern war, it makes sense. But yeah, check that one out. It's pretty inexpensive too. Flashpoint campaigns. Man, we are just hitting so many units behind the lines, but our air losses continue to be pretty high. Again, exactly what you would expect. Imagine just how terrifying it would be to be a bomber pilot in this era. I think it was 1 in 4 bomber pilots either killed or wounded in action, just because, you know, so many of them got shot down over Germany, over France, and no exception for our pilots here. About 150 lost to flak. And again, just look at that operational loss of 120. Like, that's just merely planes that, you know, either their engine gives out or, you know, they're just not flight-worthy anymore and they drop out of the sky. It's absolutely terrifying. Huge hats off to the Air Force in these battles. Felagrin! How you doing, bud? Yes, very realistic. All right. Go straight to the beaches. So first things first, I want to get these guys off the ships. Let's make sure we find a port location. Hold on now. I think we've got to move these guys off the beaches, pretty much. Which means just simply taking more territory. Welcome aboard, boys. Oh, that is fantastic. Everybody is arriving on time. Welcome to the war. And what I'd like to do here... actually, let's get a few more units off. There's no reason for us not to be at full strength here. But unfortunately, nope. The tiles are taken up. We've got to clear those tiles, put simply. I wanted to go to this tile. Shame on me. Alright, fingers crossed. Bolshevik divisions, of course, contributing to this defense. And we did well, but still did not manage to get off. They're actually sending these Bolshevik divisions from the north to support. So we just need to find a way through those. We're going to drop him right there. And see, now that he's pretty much open to attack, he might be able to get to this particular tile and assist. Let's do it again. Come on. It may not seem like a lot, but breaking through here is so important to a victory. I might even put my HQs on the front line. That's how important it is for us to bust through this area. Down to the Italian front. It's only a matter of time. We will break through next turn. In fact, I might go for a follow-up attack. Of course, keep in mind, we're going across a river to make this attack happen, so it's tough. But the goal with Italy is just to crack at it little by little, and we'll break through. See, these areas are all really strong. Let's hit that 27. Nice! That's what I'm talking about. Of course, what I'd really like to do is get the the railroad south of Aquila. So we'll actually move this unit here. Of course, we put our guys in a bit of a dangerous position because they could be overrun, but I think we're going to be all right. And I'll even risk it by attacking this area over here. It's fairly strong, but look at that. You never know. And those Jaeger divisions fell back in total panic. Now, of course, it would be even better if we can move a unit in here, but moving through the mountains is a tough one. And we should be able to break through this group pretty easily. Yep. Once again, though, consolidating territory is not easy in this location. Let's go over there to the north. One of our transports just got hit, actually. Still think we got a pretty nice amount of troops here. Of course, it's a good idea just to get those other troops ready to go. We know we can just immediately transport them over, though, once we take those ports and once we move these guys inland. What we really need to do is force one of these units back so we can start getting guys out of this tile and bringing additional units in. That is going to be the most important thing. In fact, next turn, I may not even attack. I may just simply spread them out so that we can bring in a bunch of reinforcements. Anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for stopping by this stream. And again, what I propose we do is we make this War in the West campaign essentially an exclusive stream here on YouTube Live. Because again, this particular campaign, it takes a long time to complete. It really does. And we can, of course, go through the entire thing. But I think it's best on a live platform like this, and it's probably going to take a lot of episodes. So if you want that to happen, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to actually really leave a comment saying you want to see a campaign of this game eventually or whatever. In any case, I highly recommend War in the West. This is one of those really, really great games. Amazing World War II games, and it's just fantastic. Now, one thing I will do before getting off here, number one, I want to save. And number two, I want to take a look at the casualty counts. Now, of course, one would expect that the casualties are going to be higher for our side, because, of course, we're landing on the beaches, etc. We're working our way through the Italian peninsula, and that is not easy. But let's take a look here. So, Axis losses overall, 56,000 men killed, 495 men captured, 97,000 wounded. Actually, we have fewer losses, just barely. So we got 43,000 men killed, about 44,000 if we're rounding up, 2,532 captured, and 67,000 wounded. And I'm almost certain that about 7,000 to 8,000 of those men killed are simply lost going between the English Channel to France. Just that alone, they're getting hit by torpedoes. And once you're in the water of the English Channel, you know, most times throughout the year, you're not going to survive for very long. You're going to freeze pretty damn quickly. Anyway, I would love to continue this campaign later on. So again, you know what to do. Once the video uploads, make sure to comment. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, you know, it's actually one of the few campaigns I don't think I would mind doing. It's that fun. I am nervous about the landings over here, but I think we'll make it. And besides, there's more than one way to Berlin. Well, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care and have a fantastic day. I'm going to put the Discord link here in the chat as well if you guys have not joined. It's a great place to find like-minded gamers and just to keep up to date with the goings-on of the channel. Catch you next time, folks.